All right, let's call the meeting in order, please. Paul Bowden will be excused. First item on the agenda is the consideration of the minutes from August 16th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion?
Thank you, Cal.
Any changes? All right, motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Greenie, you voted aye.
Oh, yes, I forgot I was a voting member.
We need a
Second.
we need a
Okay.
quorum.
I'm in, yes, I.
And let's see, August 23rd, 22 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
I'll second them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Right, motion carries. Next item is the minutes for July 11th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes as distributed.
Second. I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries. Right,
We still have some minutes from August 2nd of last year. I still have.
those are approved.
Yeah, she included them last week, but we had
Oh.
went back and looked, we already approved.
I saw where the minutes were.
First presentation, Lincoln Fire Department and Health Officer.
Okay. well, let me- well, spreadsheet. I just felt like if I had the spreadsheet open in real time, it could do the math for us.
Yeah.
and we wouldn't have to, Yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, do we want to start item 5? 1310-304 Fire Department, go through that.
Okay, so for the minutes, because we have somebody doing the minutes who's never done the minutes before. We're gonna say what page we're on and what
Okay,
line we're
so
on.
we're on page 24. This is the CIP 2024 consolidated spreadsheet dated 6/15/23. All right. Line 9. E1 International Pumper, 2013. Completed last in 2013, next in 2038. Prompt 2032, total estimated cost 400,000. 25,000 for 23. 25,000 recommended for 24. Going up to 27, 25,000. Do we want to add 25,000 for 2028 and 2029?
I think we're gonna need to have more than that. I've asked Ryan to get updated numbers for all the vehicles. In his, so 2023 numbers on vehicles, I think he has some documentation for you all, because I think we're gonna need to change the purchase price, and then that's gonna change.
Yeah.
All the years afterwards.
All right, so what you have in front of you is something that I put together. It's real down and dirty, it's just a,
Excuse me, before you start your presentation, is the chief here? Okay, was he expected to be here today?
I let him know twice, so. yeah,
Okay.
it was-
Just for the record. Thank you.
So like I said, what you have in front of you is the total estimated cost for new replacement apparatus. We reached out to DeSourcy, who's the dealer of our new engine 2. And he kind of put together an email, which is on the next page, of what is the new industry standard for different apparatus. So what I did in this little graph here is I broke down each apparatus, the estimated cost new, and these are right now rough numbers, but these are what the industry standard is. You have the replacement year, and then the suggested yearly is something. I took the overall estimated cost new and then divided by the number of years that we have until we replace them. And those are the numbers that I came up with. Like I said, they're very rough. I'll have to sit down with somebody who's better at math than I am, but that's kind of where that portion's at. And then the next graph down is after speaking with DeSourcy, he told us that across the board, no matter what, the apparatus went up 35%. It's just how, supply chains are and such, manufacturing. Then he also said add 5%, obviously for each year for inflation. So that's what I did. I added 40% to what we typically put in. So like engine one is 25,000 a year. 40% of that would be 10,000, bringing a total of 35,000 per year. And the main goal, putting this portion of it together, was to just kind of update our numbers to have more realistic numbers of what apparatus is going to cost within the next 5, 10, 15 years.
And these are all 2023 numbers.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
How old was the last estimate of 400,000, you know?
It's been quite a while. It was probably, well, probably at least 5 years. I mean, everything went up with COVID, as we know.
It's quite a jump, 100% in 5 years, not what we're used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of what we found out when we went to purchase our new engine too, was that we were about half of what we should.
What did we pay for the new one?
7, 8,
7 and change, yeah, 720.
We had budgeted like 4 something for
7,
that,
20.
Yeah,
less than 500,000.
Right, so we were well below what we should have been for.
And we're waiting 2+ years for the truck.
right.
So supply chain, I think.
But I know that was part of, the CIP's big thing was last year was we need realistic numbers. I mean, there's no point in putting money away for. If we're not putting the right amount of money away, or at least trying to put close to the right amount of money away, so. I know it's a shock to everybody.
Now, when we get an estimate, should we be thinking every year adding 5%?
Yeah,
Because
That's what
we're
they told
not,
us.
okay, so what about when we order and it's 2.5 years to delivery? Are we locked in?
We're
we're locked in. Once we sign the contract, we're locked in. So that's what's the importance this year. That's why we kind of put the money from the designated fund balance into the capital reserve, so we could lock into 2022 or 2023's pricing. Because they were telling us it was gonna go up 15% or whatever it was, like within the next 2
Yeah,
months.
I'm reading this email right. It looks like they adjust the price when they build the chassis. Second page, it says. The first sentence after they address Ryan, it says, commercial chassis are re-invoiced when they start production, which has to be passed on to the customer.
Right.
So,
Right, so in a lot of situations, and especially commercial chassis, we're trying to stay away from those as much as possible. Trying to go to the more custom, because that's what everyone's doing now, and I can explain why, but it's long and boring. But you could buy the chassis to begin with, start off, and then they're gonna start slowly building your truck. That is a possibility. I think just when we bought our current engine too, it was like a crunch moment, like we had to get it, so we couldn't buy the chassis first and then start building a truck. But going forward, that's a good start. You could do it that way.
I heard of an incident recently where somebody purchased a camper for like 200,000. When they went to do the final, they noticed there was a rebate of 40,000 on it. And when the gentleman called the company, which I believe was based in Arizona, he indicated that's because we've had the chassis as 2021. It's been sitting for 2.5 years now.
Right.
And they just finally put all the components together to build it. So obviously you're getting a 23, 24 car that's built in, or in this case, a camper. It was built in 21, at least portions thereof. So, yeah, it's important.
So it would be my suggestion at the very least to update all the essentially estimated project prices, the cost estimate.
Yeah.
And then obviously update what we need to put in throughout the years, but I think, at the very least, we've got to be more realistic with our pricing.
okay. So 800,000 for B1. And the tower truck is 1.2 million from 280,000. So
280,000 wasn't realistic price.
Yeah.
That would be maybe a used price.
All these prices here are new. I figure might as well do the new numbers. Don't go with any kind of used number. You always want to try to
we're
go.
adding a whole $1 million to it. But
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's on the conservative side too, I mean.
Well, and that's not to say that we won't buy a used vehicle, it's just if we're planning, if this,
Planning.
yeah, for a planning purpose.
The
There's
amount,
no guarantee that we will buy a used, there's no, guarantee that we will buy a new, but as long as we have the funds to support whatever we do buy, it's, I think, the most important.
E2 is going from 650 to 800,
Wait a minute, what's the 280 gonna be? Where is it?
1.2 million. We have R4 rescue vehicle, should that be R1?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that should be R1 rescue vehicle. That's going from 140 to 800,
Oh, so instead of R4, it's
it's gonna be
R1.
R1. Okay, and
It's going from 140 to 800.
800.
Oh, boy.
that's a rescue pumper as well.
How about the command vehicle, 40,000?
The most recent one I looked at, was about 50, 56, depending on the package of the Durango you get.
Yeah.
I think 60 is kind of realistic. Not outfitted, exactly. Which would mean whole light
Yeah,
package, siren
5
package.
years for that. Okay. Right, so everyone good making the command vehicle going from 40 to 60?
I think it's more realistic. I mean, we just bought a Durango for the PD last year and total package, everything, lights, sirens, whatever, was 56. So I think it's
Yeah.
probably spot
I mean,
on.
don't we typically reuse the equipment from vehicle to vehicle,
It depends if it's still,
serviceable?
serviceable.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Or we can make an effort to reuse it if possible.
Sure, yeah, of course, yeah.
How many miles does the current command vehicle have on, you know?
We're at 30.
I was gonna say
30,000.
30,000, something.
And what year is it?
2020, I think it says.
Yes, we've got a couple years on it. When's the replacement? 28? That one,
Yeah, that's the.
so it's another 5 years on it.
What did we put for E2, the pump up, 800?
800.
800.
Yeah. But as you can see, like if we're going back up to number one, E1 International Pumper, when we changed that to 800,000, we only have $25,000 in there. So if we're gonna be buying that in 13 years, we have to be putting more than the $25,000 a year into it.
That's more like 50.
Yeah.
Easily.
Mhm.
So do you want to go 50 all the way across on that?
I think at the starting point,
Is this, are we talking about,
We're on E1,
E1, back up at the top. Karen.
line 9, E1 International Pumper.
okay,
We put 50 across the board,
Going all the way up to 2029.
going all the way up to 2029. Oops.
But you said the balance on that was 25.
Yeah, we put $25,000 in there at town meeting in March. It will be in there,
But that's not showing up on 6-1 under mine. Mine's showing blank under the
Right,
balance.
there's nothing in there yet.
Nothing in there.
We've already,
Oh, there's nothing in there currently at this moment in time.
Right, that's what I'm,
Town meeting put in 25, but we don't put those funds in until December.
December.
So in December, we'll have $25,000.
so it's appropriate, it just has to be deposited.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. But that still leaves us with a deficit of $500,000 in after 2029. That will give us 2029, that's another 10 years to buy it at 50,000, so we should be okay for now.
okay, so on the lines though, on the columns,
Mhm,
we're talking about number 9, E1.
mhm.
So for fiscal year 2023. We're talking about the 50 in there, but the estimated balance for 12/20/31/2023 is gonna be 25, correct?
The balance,
Right.
right?
The estimated balance,
Yeah.
correct, yes, for 12/31,
Be 25.
that's still gonna be 25, yes.
Okay, so then all right, so then it's gonna be 50 for 24, 25, 26, 27.
All the way out.
Until 38, that's 14 years, that's $700,000. So consequently, we could still be short money.
Yeah.
We may have to, over the next couple, as we get closer, put in a few more bucks each.
Yeah, I think I think, not to put it in importance, but like. The next, the tower truck is the next one in
Yeah,
line.
so we're way behind on that one.
We're way behind on that one, so I think if you're gonna put extra funds anywhere, you put the extra funds in the ones that we're gonna have to buy sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because the tower truck, we had $200,000 in there, we don't have any money in there, we'll have $25,000 at the end of the year, so we gotta be putting, $100,000 in there.
And Ryan and
Yeah.
Mike, thank you for your diligence in doing the research. Just a quick question.
Sure.
And you're educating me. Do we have other companies that manufacture a rescue vehicles? And have we compared prices with XYZs, A, B, Cs?
So yeah, when we went with DeSourcy for our new engine two, it's the manufacturer's name is E1, so not to confuse you. We bought our E2, but the manufacturer is E1. We also looked at Pierce and what's the other one? HME. And they're all kind of similar in price.
I think they're all were within like 100,000.
Yeah,
of each
other
other.
than Pierce, I think you use.
Pierce was
It was 900 something.
Yeah, a little bit more expensive. We didn't get the most expensive. We got the middle grade,
And they're the only ones that could build it to our specs for our safety concerns.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you.
but they're not gonna vary by $500,000. They're gonna
No,
vary
that's
by,
right.
150, that type of stuff.
Couple percent.
Yeah, right.
So me as a tower truck, that doesn't go out on every call.
No. Yeah, we
We
use
try to get out as much as we can.
absolutely, but it doesn't get used as much as like engine two or the rescue. So that's kind of why
Yeah, I mean,
we would like to plan for new, but it like.
the reason I asked is that's probably one we could buy used as opposed to some of the ones that go out more frequently.
Yep, absolutely.
And is that more used in the high rises?
Yeah, we use it for various different things, any kind of chimney fire we have.
Any
Roof
fire,
operations.
any fire call that we can get it to, we will take
Use
it
it.
to.
Yeah, like we try not to bring up to the village of Loom and those roads, but.
Yeah.
Somewhere we can get it safely.
I mean, if you get a structure fire call, you pretty much have to bring it because you don't know what you're gonna encounter when you get there.
Absolutely.
Well, and with the hotels popping up in town, it's not like we have lack of height.
And that quote,
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with
Question.
this, because, when Dennis Duchamp built Riverwalk. He had anticipated putting 250,000 towards a new ladder truck that would reach 4 stories, because it was the highest building in the town. And he said, yeah, you had the money put aside, but whoever was sitting in the seat, not you, didn't come to me and say, we're gonna pull the trigger and pay it, because he said, if they don't ask, I'm not gonna, give. But I'm wondering if we can have some type of a linkage payment with the 2 new hotels going in, because they, and I've talked with Peter when he was counsel about this, because we did it all the time in Massachusetts.
Their impact fees, only the planning board can impose an impact
Right.
fee at the time of the approval of the site
Of
plan.
the site.
So I think,
We couldn't make 2 hotels pay the cost of the entire fire.
no, you couldn't, right, it has to be proportionate, very much so, so yeah, it has to be proportionate, but those have already been approved, so unfortunately, unless something new, and you have to have an impact fee ordinance, so we would have to go.
Somewhat impact fee.
Sure, yeah, I think we have the bedroom impact fee, but I think we would have to have a more elaborate impact fee ordinance to make someone pay for a fire truck, but I mean, it's definitely something in the future that the, you know, the planning, if the planning board be willing to do so, could look into.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as the chairman of the planning board, I think it'd be a good idea, at least get it on the books. And then, should the future hold something like that, and it doesn't have to be specifically for public safety.
No, it has to be, New Hampshire state law has very specific
very specific.
guidelines, yeah, of what it can be used for, and it's, like
I've looked-
water, sewer, utilities, that kind of stuff. And again, like Jim said, it has to be proportionate, so if you're adding X number of bedrooms or X number of, utilities, it would be, but again, it's not a bad practice, especially in a town like ours that tends to have bigger projects going on.
Yeah, in proportionate, again, I don't know specific laws, but I'm thinking anything proportionate, let's say, over 30 feet in height. Because there's not many that reach that height, so consequently, the proportion of a new hotel is higher than, just in general bedroom overall, so, what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we would need
That would invite a challenge, I think, something like that.
Well, yeah, I think we would need to get the town attorney involved to make sure whatever we're doing does, comply with state law.
Oh, yeah,
Like we said, with everything already approved, it's.
yeah.
Well, and then you get all these short fat hotels. Rather than talking,
Anyway.
and that may be what we want, but people always find a way around, the.
Oh, yeah.
So. Okay, back to how much money we want to put in that line for the pumper, or the tower truck, excuse me.
We had 40% is 35, but that'll still leave us short.
I think at the very least, we gotta add like 75. Or we have to make it 75, add 50, because if we did that. It would be. Out to 29. We'd have 750,000, we'd still have 6 years,
We'd still be short $500,000.
still, yeah, so we might.
During those prompt years, is that when,
Pardon?
during like the prompt year, is that when it starts
Yeah, I
to
mean, maybe if we move
start
that,
to ramp up?
No, that's when you start putting. money-
really sharpen your pencil.
Oh,
Right, well, that's when we could
That's all.
reevaluate cost price and maybe have to put $100,000 or $150,000 for those last 5 years or something. I mean,
Well, I'd suggest then we start putting like 75 to 80,000 each year. That'll give us, in 10 years, 800,000 at 80.
yeah, we had 75, if we put 75 in for the next 5 years, we're still $750,000 short. So I think 75 is the very least we could put in, because we don't really want to have to be putting in $200,000 the last couple, last 6 years.
But I mean. But when the prompt comes, we can evaluate the condition of the truck and maybe it can last a few more years.
Sure.
I mean,
Well,
some
you
good,
still want the money there in case it does, because remember, like every time we put off, we say, oh, it's gonna last another 5 years, and then it's in the shop somewhere for. And then the bill was about the same as would have been the amount of money that we put in that particular year.
We did put quite a bit of money into that. It's over 20 years old now.
What's the resale value of something like that? Is there any
I
value,
don't know.
secondary market?
I can tell you.
I don't know off the top of my
Well, and you gotta think, when we get rid of that, that is going to
head.
be
30 years.
30 years old.
Yeah,
It's not like it's a,
it's a museum piece.
it's.
Someone's private vehicle, like, you can, yeah.
I think 75 is a good starting point. I would think 100 would be better, but I think 75 at least gets you to reevaluate in a few years. It's better than the
I
25.
mean, 75, I think is a better number. We still have time to
Yeah,
evaluate.
I think, like I said, I think we're still short, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Was anything appropriated at town meeting for that grant
25,000, but that will be the
That-
balance of
in
that.
December?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Carry that all the way forward.
75.
Mhm.
Um,
Katie
Bumper.
just texted me that we're not taking into account the 5% increase.
That is true.
well, we have, we're gonna adjust that next year.
Well, just because we're putting those numbers in right this minute, doesn't mean towards the end, we won't go
We won't go back and play
Go
around,
back and-
right?
Absolutely.
make sure that that's what we want. Okay, so we're talking 75 out to.
That's true, what, 2029?
Yep, all the way through.
The bumper is up. Oh, sorry, we all set on the tower truck. Anyone have any more questions on that? All right. Let's move on to the pumper. We have 550 already. So the estimated balance is 764, 532.
Right, so at the beginning of,
We're in
right
pretty
now, we
good
have
shape.
214 in there, we'll put the 550 at the end of the year. Bringing us to 760.
And is that still on track to be replaced in 2025?
It's all ordered.
Yeah, that's one we ordered this year.
Okay,
Yeah, so we have enough funds for it for right now.
That's
Okay.
2.5 year build time.
okay. That's fine. We're good 60 and 60.
I
We don't probably, how much is it? How much is the one? Excuse me. Sorry.
I think it was like 720, just shy of 720, I think it was 718 and, and change. So
So do we even need the 60 for this year?
I think with that 450 we put last year, we probably don't need the 60 for
Well,
this year.
aren't there usually add-ons that they put like,
We are gonna have to budget for things like new hose.
right?
Right, but you're gonna have $764,000 in there at the end of this year, so
Yep.
that gives you $40,000 for hoses and outfitting.
Should do it.
Yeah, I have no idea, I don't remember.
Well, and if it doesn't, we're not getting it in 24 anyways, we're getting it in
Right.
25, so
So-
if it's not, we can reevaluate, yeah,
Okay,
so we can take the,
Take
so
the
we can
60
take out
out.
those 260s.
take out those two six.
Rescue vehicle is 800,000. We have $700 towards it. We have 11 years to fund it.
What did we fund this year at town meeting, Karina, for that?
Nothing,
Nothing.
0, okay.
but we probably should be.
11 years. Well,
Yeah, because when we have the prompt, it's only a 6-year, right?
Right,
Only a 6 years, and could be that we should be maybe doing 10 years.
I think we need to put $75,000 in across the board again, at the very least. Because we don't have it, let's say we have, it's $715 is nothing, we have zero.
We have
money.
zero, basically.
Yeah, we have zero money in there, we're supposed to buy it in 10 years, essentially,
So what's the
now.
condition, what's the condition of the rescue vehicle?
It's a used 2007 model that's gonna need to be replaced by that. probably.
So
So we
I would,
put 75 in,
at least,
will
if
we
not
be
100,
close?
yeah.
I mean, we'll be
It-
within
So
50
which
grand.
one is this? It's supposed to be less than 12 years old.
The
The
first due,
due piece.
Oh, okay.
and that's the one we put in the order for this year, so
Yes.
that's gonna be our number one.
So right now that we use, for the NFPA standard, we use engine one as our first due piece listed, even though it's not really for. Because it's 2013, it's only 10 years old, so by the time we get the new one, that one will be over 12 years old, our new one will be then.
And then we'll be on a good track to keep moving forward that way.
If we put 75 in across the board, after 29, which will give us 5 years, we'll have a balance of 350.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, reasonable.
Absolutely.
So 75 all the way across in that one?
Yeah,
Okay. Moving on to the command vehicle. Put in 5,000. No, there's only 5,000 in there. We didn't put anything in this year. 60,
We're 15 short, so we gotta put at least. 10,
well, put 10,000 in 2028, we'll have it.
We'll have to put 15. Right, because we're 15 short.
30, 40,
Right.
50, 55.
But we have. We have 5, 4 years of 10 is 45, we need 60. But
So we should just have 15 a year then.
So we have 55 out of 60,000, right?
Yeah, so you would need the last year to be 15.
Yeah.
yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay.
So
So the last
2028, make it
2028 make 50.
60, and 60 is an iffy number. We don't know where the price is gonna, probably not gonna come down, but
I think everyone's gonna work $3 an hour all of a sudden.
exactly.
That's really what you think prices are gonna come down.
You do 10 through 2027, and the last year you purchase at 20, you'll get 15.
Are you doing fire department building? Is that yours too?
Yeah, so
Okay, what page
I'm looking.
for the record?
It's back on first page.
First page, page 23.
So just recently, we reached out to an engineer to do a structural analysis of the building.
Yeah.
At the fire department, Du Bois and King is hopefully gonna come out and figure out what's feasible for us. Can we do some fixes to the roof? Can we do some interior renovations? Can we do possibly an addition? And I think there's like an air quality thing we were looking to do as well. I believe it's, was it 10,000 this upcoming year going in?
We have 20, we're gonna have 24,600 at the end of 2023, 10,000 in 2023.
Right, so this engineer we're looking to do within the next 2 to 3 years, so I think 10,000 is not gonna be enough to.
Yeah.
Do that, I don't know a realistic number right now, we were thinking 25,000 a year. That would get us in 4 years, at least $100,000 roughly. Which would be a great start for any addition and renovations that need to happen.
Kira, did you ever get an estimate on siding? I know that was one of the topics.
That would have been a wrong one, but I can get that for you.
Yeah.
I don't have one now.
You know, that was one of the things that come up, get an estimate. on siding.
I remember that too.
We were talking about putting an addition onto the side of the building potentially,
Potentially.
with some paving there, if I remember correctly. And, you know, I think putting 25 in there would give you the 100 grand. And some of it, maybe you guys can do in-house. I mean, I know you gotta go to skilled labor there. So, you know, whatever we can do to offset a cost would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think we have to really know until we get that structural analysis.
Well, yeah, we don't know, the building might
We don't
have
know,
to be
the might the
torn down.
building, right,
It might
but no
take
matter what, we're gonna
Need it somewhere.
need it somewhere, right?
It's gonna need work.
So do we want to put 25 all the way across?
I'm okay with that.
Jack, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
We're talking about line 85. This is for the minutes.
Correct.
On page 23.
And then there's also the line right under it, which is paid fire department parking lot, but I think that's kind of,
I think that goes.
that goes with whatever happens over
Yeah.
there, you know, essentially, so I think we can. Just leave that at 0 for now.
Anything else?
Yes. Sorry, we have a new item that we wanna put in for, it's, we're listing it under communications. And it's for new mobile radios for our trucks. And new replacement pagers and future replacement of our portable radios. We just did our portable radios last year.
Can you give an extra one? Can you?
Oh, yeah.
put on pause the
Good one.
file?
So we've got a quote, our mobile radios in our trucks right now are obsolete. They still work for the time being, but if they break, they don't replace them, they don't fix them. We'd have to probably find something different. They don't manufacture them, they don't support them anymore, so we're looking to replace 5 of those with all our vehicles. And remote heads for the pump operators and such. As well as 15 pages which are aging, and not all of our members have newer pages that some of them don't work half the time. And then, like I said, the portable radios will be a future purchase to start the line item for CIP. Attaches the quote to the request.
41,392.90.
Correct. Yeah, that's for the pagers and the 5 mobile radios with the remote heads.
Yeah.
We've already also started looking at grants on this. We use, was it the, what grant was that?
AFG.
The FG grant that we got for our portable radios.
Mhm.
We're looking to
We
do
got this Homeland Security one back.
Homeland Security. one.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at both of those.
We're looking at grants and they're very difficult now. They're cracking down on them. And we did the our air packs on the grant a couple years ago. But
But they're also, even if we get a grant, we're probably gonna need match funding.
we still have,
Right,
yeah,
right,
absolutely,
yeah.
yes.
So I think having a line, just adding a line for communications for either, you know, just. We just got the radios last year from another grant, so that's gonna be, you know,
Yeah.
probably 10 years out.
Those portable radios, yeah, will be,
But for these, which are gonna be more of an immediate need within the next couple of years, we should at least add a line so we can start putting money away for them.
What's the time frame on these?
the mobile radios are probably as soon as possible, we'd like to, The pagers are. Probably a couple of years we can get by with what we have, like I said, not all of our members have working pages.
And if they're not repairing them, so once they go, you need something. to
Yeah, the older
replace
models, correct.
Immediately.
Let me ask, no one really uses a page, everyone has a cell phone. So
We still use paging through our two-way radios. So that's the kind of pager we use. Just a Motorola page.
Yeah, when a call goes up.
When a call goes out.
Okay, that automatically,
So we do have secondary notifications on our cell phones, which has been helpful, thank God.
Yeah.
For people to get notifications. Because our renewed infrastructure is only reaches so far in town.
Right.
And I mean, another thing we probably should put on here is probably mobile repeaters down the road, because we have no communication up on the tank.
Right, well, and I know that that's something also that the PD is.
right,
looking
so I was gonna
into,
ask my next
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Can you work with the PD system as a sub?
It's
This
two,
equipment-
no, it's two totally different, it would be different frequencies, different, they're digital and we're analog. So it probably could at some point, but there would still have to be money put aside for
Right,
it.
no, but these digital, the new ones, is what I'm asking, are these analog again?
We use analog. We're not digital,
Right, so you're gonna stay on analog,
correct,
is that,
that's what the fire service is.
right, but every fire, it's not just Lincoln,
Nope, so these will, these new radios are compatible with Woodstock and our mutual aid partners around the
okay,
town.
so if you went to digital, you wouldn't be compatible. with
Exactly.
the-
So couldn't speak with them on mutual aid call.
Yeah.
Okay. This also doesn't include installation.
Yes,
It's just the,
this is just a product quote.
What, 10,000 in?
I mean, if we have a line showing that we're setting aside, that'll help us with the grant.
Right, exactly, so I think, yeah, I think so under, this is page 24, under 5, fire department. There's like miscellaneous maintenance, repair, replacement, I think
So
total separate line.
yeah, because it gets totally confusing. I mean, this is really its own
Okay,
item.
so let's call it FD, communication upgrades, is that okay with
Communication
everybody?
equipment,
Yeah,
So this, they're just communications, because some of it may be hardware upgrade, some of it may be software, some of it may be licensing. You know what I mean?
Okay,
There's a lot of components.
what do we call the police department? We call it improvements. So FD communication improvements,
Yeah,
similar to the PDs.
Like, Ryan, did you, any money in the regular budget, the operating budget for this type of equipment? Did we put anything in there? You guys put anything in there?
No, I mean, in the regular operating budget, it's more just materials, supplies, like
We don't have it,
it's
we
very
don't have,
broad spectrum.
we do not have a line item for this.
Okay, so I mean, there was no money set aside, but I know, capital approved 15,000 or more, but I didn't know if you put a piecemeal in.
There was, in 22, there was a line for them to buy new radios, but then we got that $50,000 grant. And so they were able to buy twice as many as they had originally purchased, so we spent the money that was in their line item for that.
Yeah.
But also got twice as many as we were supposed to get with the grant.
But we had put it in the operating budget in case we didn't.
Because we did, right. So no matter what, they could buy at least a couple of them.
Okay.
Right.
Thank
okay, we could use project number 92, I'm looking at the. List, and as we take away things, we just leave that number
Okay,
hanging, and 92. Says no project assigned to that number, so then we put a sign number 92.
okay. So I'm gonna call this ongoing, right? Because we don't really have a definitive date for everything. Is that okay? if I
That's
call it-
fine.
Okay,
Mhm. We can put the estimate in there, 41,392.90 each. side.
yeah, okay. 43, I'm just gonna call it
And that doesn't-
41.
It doesn't include inflation too,
42.
so we
42,
know what's coming. That quote that we have attached is good through August.
Yeah.
This year, so.
I'll put is it okay if I put 42 in there just to
Yeah,
round
that's-
up and make it even?
that's
Okay,
fine.
42. And we have 0 in here.
Just,
And maybe start with 10 grand, is that what we said for next
yeah,
year?
10 a year.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
When you say that your pages can't be fixed now. So when one breaks, it's just out of rotation, there's no replacement. Or can you buy a newer one and will it communicate with what you have?
We can buy a newer one, yes.
But will it communicate with what?
So
Yes.
I think people will be saying the pages. So our mobile radios for our trucks, that's the case. They're obsolete. They don't make parts for them.
Okay,
So with that, we'd have to go and buy brand new of everything.
and
Our
to make them
pagers,
all be able to communicate to each other?
correct, as long as they're analog.
They would still communicate with each other as long as they're the right frequency, the right band,
Okay,
so bandwidth.
okay.
Are you able to bastardize one to fix another one? Steal parts from one and,
It depends on which truck it is, Jack.
oh,
The
okay.
command vehicle has a different radio than the trucks do right now.
Oh, I see.
So what, that's another thing we're trying to do is make everything the same. So it doesn't matter what piece of apparatus somebody's in, they know how to operate the radio. But yes, we could for now. A couple of the trucks, the engine 1 and engine 2 both have remote heads right now. So if we had to take one of those remote heads out, we could replace the head in the truck.
That would just take it away from the pump operator. He could.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have a radio.
We wouldn't have that.
okay. Anything else on this?
Are we gonna put 10,000 out
10,000 out, yeah.
Okay. all the way
For
to?
4 years, that'll be 40,
1,
and
2, 3, 4, okay,
then 5,000 on the.
Maybe we'll get some grant money. What have you.
We're trying, so.
Well, the town just got $1 million grant. You probably saw that, so that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
There's money out there.
24, 25, 26, and 27 will be 10, 2028 will be 5. Will be funded.
okay.
Wait. Gonna make sure I do this so that she can tell what we did.
You know, when we did the updates last year. Carol, I think you highlighted in yellow, any
I'm
change,
doing that right now.
you're gonna be doing
I'm
that,
doing that as we go along.
okay, great. That way that we can see the changes.
Okay, so the, so do you have that in there, like? Next prompt, all those things?
Yeah, everything I'm doing, everything I touch, I'm highlighting and changing, so.
Right. Cause I'll wait to see that before I give my notes to.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, no, I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah. That's it. I think that's just right.
Well, you're out of paper, we're out of dollars.
Thank you for your time. It's fair. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
good
right,
job,
Thank you, gentlemen.
good job of doing the research.
Yeah, yeah, it's research.
Thank you, guys.
All right, next, planning and zoning, Carol Bott, planner,
No changes.
sit in that seat, it's hot.
Right?
That's the hot seat.
Yeah, we just warmed it up too. So. I guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Start, page 24, item 3, planning and engineering.
Yep.
Two is engineering, ongoing all the way across. 77,950, we didn't put anything in there this year. We have any big things we're gonna withdraw from there in the future?
Um,
We're gonna,
I'm just making sure it's going all across. We have 77 in there now. I mean, we do have some projects that are kind of always going.
But a lot of these projects,
Have their own engineering, they have their own, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess, accounting for their engineering.
Right.
Um,
so I mean, I guess can we zero out 10 for 2024 and just rely on what we have?
so right now, I think it's okay. I mean, we haven't used too much of it last year. So, I mean, I would be comfortable if we're gonna have to be cutting things, or maybe we wanna wait till the end if we have to cut things to cut that.
I would just cut it now.
Okay.
Okay with that, Jack?
Sure.
Master plan,
okay, so that's due on 2026, so that's 2 years.
40,000.
I think we gotta keep that in there.
Yeah,
We got 31,982, or we will have 31,982 at the end of the year. We have 10 more thousand budgeted, we'll have almost 42,000.
right,
Yeah, but we're gonna do
but
it.
we got the estimate, like, what, 2 or 3 years ago.
Right, well, I mean,
How many?
the last estimate was only 20, last time we did it was only 25,000.
I know, but you remember.
I
I mean, he
don't
was
remember.
dying of cancer, you know, he drags in his friends to do it while he's dying, didn't mention to us that
I
he was
don't think,
dying.
I don't think he lived long enough to see it through.
He did not.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if we're gonna start it in 26, but it's due in 26, we only have 2 years to fund it.
Yeah.
So if
That's-
it's gonna be,
But never done one before, you know, I mean, it's like,
I think we gotta keep the fives
We
in there,
gotta
so we
see-
have the money. to
no,
do
that's what I'm
it.
saying,
Yeah.
we have enough to fund it.
Oh, yeah, I think but we have to keep it in there.
Yeah, I didn't,
Okay.
I said. It was 30, we have 31,982, 2 more years of 5 each, and we'll have almost 42,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay,
So next year I'll get a, better
next year we'll get an
better quote,
estimate.
right.
updated estimate.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. You good with that, Jack?
Absolutely.
Real estate,
Riverfront Park.
Riverfront Park, ongoing,
Mhm.
2.3 million. Put in 30,000 in 2023, 51,000 towards the goal. We want to keep that at 10, or do we want to go up a little bit? I mean, I think last year, the thought process of going up was we're never going to hit the goal at the rate we were going.
Agreed, and I do know that we're applying for grants, obviously,
Yeah.
for the Brownsfield and to try to do the remediation, but most likely there'll be a match component to
Yeah.
whatever grant we get, so I think we still gotta continue to fund it. 51,000 is gonna cover some of that, there's already expenditures that are gonna be coming out of that 51,000, because we,
I know this.
for Novus and for Ray Corber to do the grant application for the Brownsfield, that was gonna cost us 12, I think they said, 8 to 12, so I mean, you gotta take that out of
There's a
there.
grant application?
Novus and Ray Corber they put together, or they gave us kind of a soft proposal of what that would cost to put the Brownsfield the cleanup grant together for this fall.
When they did some additional testing, they found some additional
Yeah.
contaminated sites there, and they don't know how deep it goes. We got an extensive report there
Mhm.
on, what the contaminants were. Some of them are natural, some of them are man-made, and
Yeah.
so, the whole scenario now is up in the air based on what it would cost us to remediate.
So,
But I think
Even if we apply-
remediation is gonna be, if our best guess from what we've been told is probably anywhere from 700,000 to $1 million, maybe a little bit more than $1 million. If we get a grant and we gotta put 25% down, that means we need 250, so. I think we've got to continue to fund that line. And maybe at a slightly higher rate if we're gonna have our share of that matching grant.
the grant application, there's no guarantee we'll get the grant.
Nope.
I mean, I think from what I hear from townsfolk, if we're not gonna get the grant, what's gonna happen to the project? That's something that the board, the town manager, the planning board will have to decide.
Right.
We had a suggestion from somebody that was in the audience one night. Maybe we sell it to a developer and let them clean it up and do
Yeah.
what they want to do down there. I mean, obviously,
Maybe we pave over it and
But of
make a
course, with
parking
that kind of
lot.
remediation, you're not gonna get much for the land.
right,
Right.
right,
No, I'm gonna get nothing.
And once they start remediating, who knows what they're
what they're gonna find.
Right, it's gonna be a hard sell.
might have to pay to get rid of it.
Or we just leave it as is and move
You
forward.
wanna leave it at 10,000, or do you want to bump it up a little bit?
I'll listen to the town manager. What do you think, Karina?
Like I said, I think no matter what, we're gonna have to spend money down there, even if we decide to not clean it up, we still gotta put a fence around it, we still gotta do something to it, we can't just leave it in its current state.
So
So I think we're gonna need money, no matter what, for that.
so do you want to
project.
go from 10 to 20?
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea, no,
We want to go 20 all the way across?
yes.
We had 25 for next year and 25, right? So we're gonna increase the last 3 years, 26, 27, 28 to 20.
We said 20, you're right, everything's gonna be 20 from 20.
Everything's gonna be 20.
from
Everything's gonna be
24.
fine, you're looking at the bottom line, Jack, that's the total,
Yeah.
the line above
Okay,
it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. It's gonna be 20.
20 across, yeah. Which still keeps that section at 25, because we took it from 10 there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, is it all for planning and zoning?
Yeah, unless you think about fixing this building.
Yeah, I do have, so I have in the town buildings, because I think I'm supposed to go today as well. I
Yeah.
have some stuff for the town building.
But we're all done as far as planning and zoning. All right. Let's go on to the Karina Park.
Back up to section 2, property, building and maintenance,
Okay, that's on page 20.
3, yes.
23.
It is number 42.
We didn't do the wait.
I know.
23, you said, Carol?
42.
40, excuse me, town building infrastructure.
Yes, so at the last meeting, I put in the proposal to bump that up to 100,000.
Not all at once. The whole project's 500,000.
Where am I going here?
The request, I put it in the packet, it's a last piece of paper.
Yeah.
We had 100,000.
Right.
Um,
When PD vacates first floor improvements.
Right, yeah, no, it doesn't need to all go in the first year, but I imagine it will happen before 2029, so I think we have to be.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go out the whole schedule. So right now we have what, the 39,000 in it,
Yeah, we're adding 10 a year.
we're adding 10 a year, I think we need to be adding more than 10 a year, I think. Realistically, probably 25 over the next few years is a more realistic timeline of what's gonna need to happen.
Did they ever fix the all the water that pools in down there?
No, I mean, we're gonna have, when the PD moves out, there's definitely some, for us to move in and just occupy the space, if we're going in the garage, even if it's dry storage, it still needs to be somewhat moisture protected,
And you know what, do we know what the cost of water entry is?
No, I mean, we have no idea, because we really don't know,
Investigation,
yeah,
basically start.
you got it, yeah. So, like I said, I think at the very least, we need to be
Yeah.
putting some money in there to get us a head start. So when they do move out, we do have at least the money for someone to come in and tell us what we're gonna need to do.
When are you gonna start researching the costs like water entry? You gonna do that before they move out?
Well,
We
the-
did something similar to what they're doing for the fire station
Sure.
down to the lower part of this building.
Well, I mean, they know what the water causes downstairs. It's the garage and the floor tilts towards the back of the bay, the garage versus the front. So we would have to have either new cement laid down or, some sort of re-leveling of the floor. They know.
That's not really a big engineering project then.
No, I don't
Oh, I
imagine.
thought there was water down in the offices too, like where the door is. Remember they used to get water for the door,
Oh, where the door is right here.
right?
Yeah, but we replaced the door and we re-leveled that a couple years ago, or when I first came on board. So that I think worked, yeah.
So I mean, basically, the engineering work isn't gonna be as extensive as what's being done at the fire station.
Probably not, because we don't really feel as if we're not gonna add an addition, we're not gonna add a structure onto it, but we are gonna need to renovate the downstairs. So yeah, it could be something less elaborate, more of maybe a local contractor coming in or something.
Yeah.
Looking at things, but still gonna cost us money.
Yeah, everything costs.
Yeah, everything costs money, right? So, and that doesn't include just basic maintenance and upkeep that needs to be done up here. We still have the ACs to one of the AC units to no,
One of the compressors.
one of the compressors, well, I think we have 2 of the compressors outside. I think we've replaced 2. We still need 2 more.
Right.
We have one of the boilers upstairs been replaced. The other one needs to be scheduled to be replaced. So, I mean, there's just general maintenance upstairs, utility wise for the whole building that needs to be addressed as well, not just renovating downstairs. So my suggestion would be 25 across the board.
Would go with. Why don't we bump it up to 20 to start? Then next year.
Yeah, 20.
Well, it's those roots, run deep, Tim.
Well, I mean, if she's just gonna fill in the blanks and.
Yeah.
I mean, just go home, I guess.
No, if you need it, I mean, definitely, I think the 20, And, you know, we need more as we do an investigation, then we can bump it up next year. And I think, you know, first and foremost, let's get people in here. And, you know, you don't have to a lot of times pay for outside. Somebody that has a skill can take a look at, we'll say that the painting condition down there or the masonry condition. And they can tell you what you need. I mean, rather than get an architect that's going to tell you the same thing. You know, a lot of these folks have second jobs, doing outside carpentry skills, electrical skills, plumbing skills, what have you. You might even get some local people to donate their skill set just to come in and do an evaluation, knowing that ultimately they may get the job. But by the same token, you know, let's be prepared to pay for the repairs rather than spend money, people telling you what you need. I mean, I can look at painting and say, we need to do this, we need to scrape it, it's gonna take X amount of hours. I've painted since I was 13 years old. So, you know, I think 20 is adequate.
Okay. Oh, my other lines, okay.
We're gonna do 20 all the way across.
I did 20 all the way across, yes.
And we've got 39 in there now.
We got 39 in there now.
Still almost 60 grand. Gee,
Going up to 23, new town services building, we have, well, let me highlight it so I can. At the end of this year, we'll have $43,000 in it. I know that we did just receive that grant, but we are not 100% positive on if there would be a matching fund. There was no speak of it, but we don't know. But we also know that there's going to be improvements that need to be made. I know we got $20,000 in there for the next, so that's 60, so that brings us up to 100,000. I think I'm okay with leaving it for now, I guess.
Okay, you want to just carry the 20 all the way across?
Sure.
27, 28,
And 29, yeah.
29.
We'll have more information. Or if we-
We'll have more information in the next year or two
Yeah.
as we, you know, move into that building and figure out what's.
I mean, we're gonna have meetings all the way in September, so if we get more information, we still can revise.
And then the other one I had was Old Pole Public Access. We have 5,000 going in there, this year. I think that's kind of ongoing with the new property owner down there and revisiting our easement, but I think no matter what, we gotta put a little bit more money in there if we're gonna make a gravel drive or something like that. So I think the 5,000, adding the 5,000 is okay if we just keep it there.
Okay, so carry that 28, 29.
Yeah, because we had talked about looking at a different
Access point,
yeah,
yeah,
access point wasn't so steep, if I remember correctly.
correct.
And I think initially, the new owner had said was not opposed to that.
Yeah, I think he said he was agreeable to revisiting where the easement lies,
Yeah.
but I think until they have a better understanding of what they're doing on that property.
Yeah.
He's they're hesitant to say, yes, you can have this point right here. So I think it's a future project. That we just want to have money for whenever we do figure out where that easement's gonna lie.
So now is the engineering money gonna go for that, the planning and the engineering and planning?
Or-
You have to. I'm just thinking you have this for the Old Pole public access, but. In the past, they've used the engineering money. From planning and zoning and engineering. So just keep it in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, you know, I mean, what our own crew in-house did with the parking over at the Kank Rec Center, I mean, it's also almost comparable for what they could do down there with the equipment that we have on hand and or renting, you know, a heavy piece of machinery
Yeah,
for a
but
day.
we don't wanna completely wear them out.
Oh, no,
You know what I
no,
mean?
no, believe me, I
Yeah.
fully understand the great job that they do, Carol. And, you know, when they have the time, you can't overburden them because there are certain items, as we know right this moment, are taking up a lot of time. And other projects are having to be put off, they're not so important. But everything, the longer sometimes you let things go, the more they deteriorate, as we know. I mean, that's life.
And then Nate came to meeting one of the meetings was that he told us that that old hole access was beyond him and his crew. He's
Okay,
already told us that.
okay, I don't
Okay.
remember that, but
I think it's the steepness. I
Yeah.
think it's the terrain, how
Yeah.
geographically we would need to, we don't have a good landing there.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tammy's nodding her head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the trees, the steepness,
Yeah.
we would have to be, he would need to have a machine that could handle that.
We don't have the equipment or
Right.
the manpower to handle the equipment we do need. So
But yeah, I think leaving the 5,000 in there, it will have more and more as, by the time we get to that point.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I had is the 20A, all the way at the bottom, the exterior concrete brickwork on Town Hall. I would just continue to add 5,000 in that across the line. I don't have a quote for it or anything. I did talk to Nate about it. And Nate says he doesn't think it's a dire emergency, but we should just continue. I think when we do have someone come in, it's gonna be probably pretty pricey.
How old is that estimate?
I have no idea.
We already have twice.
I
Yeah,
imagine
twice
that
the original
is
estimate.
Pretty old. If it was last done in 2007.
I think it may be based on maybe what the cost was in 2007.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but that was almost gonna be 20 years ago by the time we
that's
do
what
it.
I'm saying, but I mean, if it's an estimate from 2021, we have plenty. If it's from
Right.
2007, we don't have.
We don't have enough.
That sounds familiar. I think that's what we paid.
roof was done in 2013. We were told that at that point that the rechinking of the bricks needed to be done. So that was 10 years ago. We were told that it needed to be done.
Okay, so
we
we
have-
have. We have 30,000, and why aren't we doing it?
Well, like I said, I did talk to Nate about it
Yeah.
and he didn't think that it was a dire emergency.
Okay,
But that's not to say that we might not have to do some work in the next few years, so I think we should have at least some money in order to do
well,
so.
maybe we should start, doing one side at a year for the next 4 or 5 years, something like that. That way there, it doesn't deteriorate into worse conditions and cause us, major headaches. Again, it's just a thought to, have a guy that does concrete, get a couple of quotes, come in, set up, do the worst side now, and move around accordingly. I don't know.
we'll get an opinion as to what
Yeah.
needs to be done, and
Exactly.
why don't we leave 5,000, put 5,000 in there for this year, and in the meantime, we'll work on a plan.
I bet you we're gonna get a quote and it's gonna blow your mind. Just like when we got a quote to paint the interior of just the upstairs, it was $25,000. You're talking about rechinking the exterior of this whole building, it's gonna be 50
Yeah,
grand.
a skill set.
At least.
So,
I mean, I'm okay leaving the 5,000 in for this year, but I think you should continue it on for a few years.
why don't we leave it blank? That'll force us to take a look at it next year.
Okay.
If we just put 5,000, we'll tend to breeze right through it. Oh, yeah.
Like I say, I personally would like to see somebody come in and say,
I don't think anybody's gonna breeze through money. Let me just tell you that the people who work here are as cheap as you are. I mean, really, like Jane, she never buys anything new. If she can scarf up something old from somebody else, like our furniture is from the dump. My furniture in my office is from my husband who was on the way to the dump, like. I mean, you're making assumptions that, you know, people are spending water like money. and
We're
they're
here to
all
ask,
just-
we're here to ask questions. I mean,
Yankee-like as you. We're all from the same background, you know what I mean? So. Anyway, I just can't imagine that. Anybody that you have working for you is any remotely spread.
Well, Karina, again, I go back to what I said, I'd like to see, you know, us maybe be proactive here. And have somebody come in and say, okay, I can do this side for X. This is the worst side, I can re-chink it, I can repoint it, I can replace whatever the case might be. So again, we're not putting it off and it's, you know, thaw, freeze, rain, gonna cause more deterioration. So I'd rather, you know, if it was my own house, that's what I'd be doing, which I constantly do.
Well, like I said, I'm okay with putting the $5,000 in there for this year, because then, you know, that brings us up to 35. But when I come back next year and ask for, you know, 10 for the following years to re-chink side by side, I just don't think we should.
And I know it's an issue getting estimates from contractors these days. It's not so easy.
It's not so easy, right?
Yeah.
And then if we get the estimate right now and we tell them, we have no plans on doing this until next year or the year after.
They won't come back.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, okay,
Last couple of guys, I wanted estimates. Well, I can't give you an estimate unless I know I'm gonna get the.
unless I know I'm gonna get the job. Right. Yeah. Okay. And I think the only other thing I had, is the employee separation, which is on page 28, it's section 7. At the top. I would just suggest that we put another $10,000 in there this year. I know we put 10,000 in last year. We have a few employees that I think we will see retire in the next year or in 24.
Yep.
And so I think you're gonna see big chunks coming out of that. So I would just, I think, leaving the 10 in there right now and then not putting anything in there afterwards, is probably gonna be okay.
Okay,
So no change from what's shown.
No change from what's showing.
all right. Does anyone have anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second, that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let the record show that
The light's gonna shut off.
Mr. Spanos did a great job. And he did it in 1 hour and 20 minutes, when Mr. Bode would have taken 3 hours and 20. Good job.
He's gonna be listening to your comments.
Oh,
Oh, you know it. Okay, awesome. And like I said, I highlighted all the changes we made, so I'll email them to everyone. And is that what we did last year? We brought the changes to the next meeting that we
Yeah.
made, so we can see it as we went. along.
Highlighted in yellow, so we know
Okay,
what we put in, what we've taken out, et cetera, et cetera.
No, it works really well, I think. That finally.
So we have public works next time, cemetery and recreation.
awesome.
All right.
All right, shut this off. Bye, Debbie. Oh, almost. The door was fire.